Here's a question for you. Trader A wins 70% of his trades, and Trader B wins 40% of his trades. So who's making more money? If you said Trader A, you just fell for the most expensive misconception in retail trading. And honestly, I don't blame you. It sounds obvious. More wins equals more money. But that logic is exactly why so many traders blow up their accounts and don't understand why. Because trading isn't about being right. It is about probability, expected value, and playing a game that most people don't even realize that they're in. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that is, with real math and not bullshit. By the end of this video, you will understand why a losing trade can be a perfect trade, why your win rate is useless on its own, and what separates the traders from the ones that last and the ones that quit. Let's get into it. So back to our two traders. So Trader A, 70% win rate, but his average winner is $100 and his average loss is $300. Let's do the math over 100 trades. 70 wins times $100 equals $7,000 gained. 30 losses times $300 equals $9,000 lost. Net result after 100 trades, they're down $2,000 with a 70% win rate. Now, Trader B, 40% win rate. Average winner is $300 and his average loss is $100. 40 wins times $300 equals $12,000 gain. 60 losses times $100 equals $6,000 lost. Net result, up $6,000 with a 40% win rate. This is called expected value, and it is the single most important concept in trading that nobody speaks about. The formula is simple. Expected value equals win rate times average win minus loss rate times average loss. If that number is positive, you have an edge. If it's negative, you're paying the market to take your money, no matter how good your entries look. So before you ask, what is my win rate? You should be asking, what is my expected value per trade? Because that is the number that tells you whether you have a real edge or not. Here's where it gets psychological. Let's say you've confirmed your strategy has a positive expected value. You've backtested it and the math works. And then you take 5 trades and you lose all 5 trades. What do? Most traders quit, or they start tweaking their strategy, or they revenge trade to get the money back. Because losing 5 trades in a row feels like your strategy is broken. Here's the thing. It isn't. I flip a fair coin. There's 50-50 odds. Getting 5 tails in a row isn't just possible. It is expected to happen regularly. Over 100 flips, you would see a run of the same side multiple times. Now, imagine your strategy has a 55% win rate, but you are still going to lose 45% of the time. Losing streaks of 5, 6, 7 trades are completely normal. Statistically, they have to happen. The mistake traders make is treating each trade like a verdict of their strategy. It's not. Each trade is just one data point, one coin flip in a much larger sample. Here's the mindset shift. Stop thinking, did this trade work? And start thinking, am I executing my edge consistently across hundreds of trades? The casino doesn't panic when someone wins 3 hands in a row on blackjack, because the casino knows over thousands of trades their edge always shows up. That's exactly how you need to be thinking in your trading. So if one trade means nothing, how many trades does it take for your results to actually be meaningful? The answer? At minimum 100 trades. Before 100 trades, your results are mainly noise. You could be a terrible trader on a lucky run. You could be an excellent trader on an unlucky one. You genuinely cannot tell the difference. This is why new traders blow up so fast. They take 10 trades, have a good week and think they know it all. And then they size up massively, right before the inevitable drawdown hits you. Or they take 10 trades, have a bad week, and scrap a strategy that actually has an edge. Think of it like a clinical drug trial. If you test a new medication on 10 people, the results are interesting, but not conclusive. Test it on 10,000 people, and the data tells you something real. Your trading journal is like a trial. Most traders are running 10-person studies and making a life or death decision on that. The discipline move here is define your strategy rules, execute them without modification over 100 trades, and then evaluate the results and analyze it in depth. That is when the data starts to become somewhat meaningful. Let me ask you something. Think about your last big winning trade. Looking back, did it feel obvious? Like the setup was textbook and you knew everything was going to work out? Now think about your last big losing trade. Did that feel like bad luck? Like it should have worked but the market did something weird? If that sounds familiar, you've got outcome bias, and it is silently destroying your development as a trader. Outcome bias is when we judge the quality of a decision based on what happened, other than what the probabilities said at the time. But here's the truth. A good trade is not a trade that makes money. A good trade is where you correctly identify your edge and execute within your rules without hesitation. Sometimes that trade makes money, sometimes it doesn't, and both outcomes are completely fine. And a bad trade is not a trade that loses money. A bad trade is where you broke your rules, you sized too big, you moved your stop, you entered on a whim, and you got lucky. The dangerous version of this, a bad trade that wins, because now you've been rewarded for bad behavior, and you'll do it again, and eventually that will cost you. Start evaluating your trades on a process, not outcome. Ask, did I follow my rules? Was this within my edge criteria? That's it. The market handles the rest. Okay, so you have a positive expected value. You understand the sample size. You're evaluating on process and not the outcome. You're starting to think like the house. Now here's the part that kills traders that get everything else right. That is position sizing. Even a strategy with a genuine edge can blow up with bad sizing, and this isn't rare. It is one of the most common ways experienced traders still lose everything. Here's a simplified version of the Kelly criterion, a mathematical formula given how much to risk per trade given your edge. The core idea: if you risk too little, you underperform your edge. If you risk too much, your variance kills you. Say you have a 55% winning strategy with a 1.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. The math suggests risking 2 to 5% of your account per trade. That range lets your edge compound without a normal losing streak wiping you out. Most beginners either risk too less or too much and completely blow up on their first drawdown. The practical rule of thumb is not to risk anywhere over 2% per trade, especially as you're a beginning trader, or until you have 100 pieces of data, not simulated data, live market data, real money and real psychology. Because the other thing nobody tells you about, win rate in demo and your win rate with real money will be completely different. The psychology changes everything, and position sizing is how you give yourself room to survive that learning curve. I want to leave you with one image that I think captures this idea better than any formula. Think about a casino. The casino doesn't know if the next blackjack hand will be to the house or to the player. They genuinely don't know. On any given hand, they could lose. On any given night, some players walk out with thousands of dollars. But the casino is not worried because they know that their edge will play out over time. They have a small mathematical consistent edge. They know that over thousands and thousands of hands, their edge wins every time. So they manage their risk carefully. They play every hand according to the same set of rules, and they let the math do the work for them. This is exactly how professional traders think. Not, will this trade win? They don't know. Nobody knows when your trade will win. But they think, do I have a documented edge? Am I executing it consistently? Am I sizing correctly so that variance doesn't kill my edge? If the answer is yes to those 3 questions, you take the trade every single time, without hesitation, without hoping, without needing it to win. Be content with the loss. You are the casino in trading. You need to act like it. Here's your homework. Go through all your data, if you even have any, and calculate your expected value. Remember what we said earlier. It is win rate times your average winner minus your loss rate times your average loss. Drop your number in the comments, positive or negative. And if you haven't been keeping a journal, that is the first thing you need to do. Everything we've just spoken about is completely useless without data. Anyway, that is it for the video. If this has helped you, feel free to give this video a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.